Tag TV and Tag Radio be seen and heard by both technology users and technology producers throughout the state of Georgia and around the world. Low cost, big benefits, powerhouse online branded video and audio has arrived. Tag TV, Tag Radio, there's a lot more to know. This edition of Tech Talk is brought to you by globalspeak.com, new media consultants, corporate video and audio communications, video and audio production and distribution, live and virtual event production. Tag TV and Tag Radio is a service of globalspeak.com, creatively delivering powerful marketing, video, and audio solutions. Logistics, supply chain management. No, supply optimization. That's right. Go ahead, name an industry. Paper and packaging, fuel, metals, floor covering, food and beverage, dairy, plastics, pharmaceutical. You tell me what industry isn't moving from source to consumption at insanely rapid speed. And wait a minute, how does that all happen? Experts say it better be just in time. Do you have to think about, say, network design or sales and operations, demand, forecasting, distribution? You do if you're a supply chain manager. But wait a minute, what about manufacturing or production scheduling, load planning, and transport scheduling? The fact is, today's supply chain manager has to consider the markets, the customers, the products, plants, machines, transport, warehouses, silos, and suppliers. The combination and the possibilities are literally endless. And yikes, what's worse? So are the solutions. The globalization of getting it from here to there. Greetings, everyone. It's Tuesday, May 15, 2012, and this is Tech Talk with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella. Supply optimization and the high-speed technology behind today and tomorrow's ultra-high-speed supply chain management, as Tino spans Belgium, France, Germany, the Netherlands, the UK, and China to return back to the United States headquarters of OM Partners, right here in Atlanta, to meet Philip Vervloesem, VP Sales and Marketing for the global leader in supply chain management. Currently responsible for the NAFTA operations of OM Partner, Philip and his team manage projects in Canada, North America, and Mexico. From Mohawk and Shaw Flooring to Alcoa Metals, ExxonMobil, and Procter & Gamble, and more, many more. It all boils down to getting it where it needs to be, on time and on budget. Tino looks at the company's history and the industry's future as one of the top players in the world, with revenues of over 17 million euros and 150 people worldwide and expanding. The Tech Talk goes for the optimum as we Tech Talk supply chain worldwide with VP Sales and Marketing, OM Partner USA, Philip Vervloesem.
Philip, thank you for joining me on Tech Talk today.
Thank you.
So let's jump right in. Appreciate you being on with us and your involvement with TAG. Some of our listeners may not know about OM Partners, so bring that to life. What does OM Partners do?
Yeah, I'll briefly introduce what we're all about. So OM Partners is a global leader in supply chain planning and optimization software. We focus more specifically in applications such as network design, which is like a high-level enterprise optimization, hot topic, of course, like S&OP, and then the more detailed or operational planning and scheduling. And we implement those solutions, which are all in-house developed. We implement them with our own consulting force as well as some extended partners at mostly top Fortune 500 companies like a BASF. Locally, we have Mohawk, Shaw, Samsonite, L'Oreal, and other companies. So it's in a number of areas such as the semi-process, the consumer goods, food and beverage, as well as chemicals, pharma, metals, and so on.
And you have your own proprietary software? Or
That's right. So the software itself is developed since the origin in 1985 at the headquarters in Belgium. And in the U.S., in Atlanta, we have our U.S. headquarters that are mainly oriented towards implementation, providing support, and, of course, also a sales and marketing office.
And we appreciate that you picked Atlanta, Georgia, for your headquarters. Tell us how that came about.
Well, it's been a while ago. So 8 years ago, when I moved here to start up and help start up the U.S. operations for OM Partners, of course, we had to choose where to open a new office. And there was little or no experience in the U.S. besides a couple of European rollouts to the NAFTA region. So we had to pick a location, preferably, of course, the East Coast. And then we got Atlanta, or we picked Atlanta, mainly because of the following reasons. The first one, of course, to have a pretty smooth and efficient connection with Europe, with most capitals in Europe. The airport hub was one big advantage, of course. So, and that's since 8 years has only been growing. So it's good to see the airport becoming again number one as busiest airport in the world, and still efficient, especially with the new terminal now opening in 2 weeks. That's definitely an extra pro. Next, the cost of living was kind of, because we had alternatives like Miami, like Boston, and from a point of view of cost of living was the best balance, because it's a city that has a lot to offer on the one hand, but it's still affordable to live in, and good to attract both expats from Europe as well as local or relocated employees from other states.
Did you want to say some more about that? Or?
Yeah, the last reason was actually more a surprise, because being new to the U.S., we didn't really know what the supply chain center would be, and it was a good surprise to see that a lot of companies that are in the same area as us, like an SAP or a Logility and so, and Manhattan Associates, are also a lot of them headquartered for the U.S. headquarters, also headquartered in Atlanta. So that was definitely a good surprise, but also to see our local customer base expanding, like a number of companies in Dalton, also around Atlanta. That was also an extra benefit, of course, to avoid long travel.
Yeah, we've identified logistics technologies as Georgia being in the top 5 in the nation. So you're certainly right in terms of picking Georgia and Atlanta area as a place to headquarter. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about supply chain. It's certainly a key area for companies both here and all over the U.S. and around the world. So is that business processes changing in that area? What's evolving? What do you see happening in the coming years in terms of supply chain?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting business. I've been in it now for about 13 years, and you clearly see a number of shifts, and also looking at the past couple of years in a pretty tough economic climate. It's interesting to see how our business, even in that climate, evolved still and grew, because the type of projects we do is mainly optimization, value-based optimization, which means that it works perfect in a booming or increasing market when you have to be more efficient to be able to satisfy the demand. You have to make your operations, your capacity, your inventory turnover more efficient. But it also works in a declining situation, because then you got to make sure that you keep your KPIs on, because you would need to run more efficiently, reduce inventory, close the right plants and the right DCs to gain still some cash flow. So most of the industries that we're active in, like consumer goods, pharma, chemicals, have been pretty steadily growing still, even over the past years. There's one or two industries like more like the metal industry, where there was some decline, of course, and some projects were put on hold just because of the car market, of course, that was in decline, and that they had to put some projects on hold. But the interesting shift in the market is now that even from the strategic level on, and on the S&OP level, sales and operations planning level, it becomes critical to really on that level have your optimized plan and solution in order to make sure the operational level follows. And that's an important shift, that before it was very, very operational oriented, and we see now the shift towards the strategic level and the buy-in from executives and management for these type of projects.
Well, you mentioned the business climate. Let's do a deeper dive into that for a moment. So 2009 obviously wasn't a great year for any industry. Technology held up better than some. But what did you see as some of the main challenges, and do you see U.S. or certainly in your area coming out of this in a positive way?
Yeah. Well, I see it very positive, and it's interesting then what the remaining main challenge for us as a company is. We have a lot of projects in the pipeline. We have a good business structure set up and a growing team, but the main challenge there is to keep the balance between the newly started projects and the readiness, of course, of the team, and making sure that you get that you keep that balance constantly. Because if you keep too many people on the payroll and there are no projects, then they of course get bored and leave. If you do it the other way around, then you can't follow. So you have to recruitment for us also, and which is one of my responsibilities here as well, is not just a challenge that peaks a couple of times a year, but it's becoming a constant challenge to make sure you have the right members in the team to grow, to lead the team, and to be able to, of course, complete successfully all the projects that are coming on.
Well, we're just about out of time, and you've had a relationship with TAG. Talk about that a little bit, because we certainly appreciate that. How do you work with TAG in terms of for your business?
Well, we're one of the more recent new members of TAG. We got the premier membership back in October 2011, and my goals with TAG were a couple. One is, of course, for the state of Georgia to have a good exposure as a technology company in the industries that we're in. So exposure towards potential customers, towards partnerships, and also, of course, towards the candidates that would be working for us. And through a number of networking events, I've been able to get in touch already with a couple of really excellent recruiters that have been given some excellent candidates for us. So that's already one. And of course, the job board has been definitely good as well to get profiles directly on track. So that's also good. And from an education point of view, a lot of team members have gone to the networking events, the premier events, and have all had excellent feedback from them. So it proves that even after a couple of months being member, there's a great exposure.
Well, thanks for that, Philip. We're up to 175 premier members. We started the year at 123, so there's a lot of companies joining on here, and the more that get involved, the more opportunities there are for people to conduct business, exchange knowledge through TAG. So, well, thanks for joining me on Tech Talk today, and best of luck in your business in the future.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and of course appreciate the opportunity to be on today, and look forward to any new events and activities.